Good day, sir. My name is Romel Ogok. In this video, I will be tackle on how to assemble and disassemble air compressor. But first, let me define first the meaning of an air compressor. So, air compressor, it is a device that converts power using an electric motor, diesel or gasoline engine or etc. into potential energy. Stored and pressurized, that is a compressed air by one of several methods, and their compressor forces more and more area to storage tank, increasing the pressure. When tank pressure reaches its separate limits, then air compressor shuts off. The compressed air then is held in the tank until cooled into use. The energy contained in the compressed air can be used for a variety of applications, utilizing the kinetic energy of the air as it is released and the tank depressurizes. When tank pressure reaches its lower limit, the air compressor turns on again and repressurizes the tank. So how to assemble and assemble air compressor? So first of all, I would like to share the knowledge on how an air compressor generally works. A motor brings the piston in motion, which compress the ambient air in the pump, which then gets collected in the tank. If the valve plate or pump cells are frayed in, then there won't be enough pressure build up in the tank. Sometimes, having the wrong pump spare parts like cells, other pump parts, etc. can mess things up as well. How to assemble air compressor? Start by evacuating the system using approved techniques and proper recovery equipment. Take the electrical system offline and remove the old compressor. Remove the filter dryer cores. Check valve and reversing valves on the heat pumps. It may be faster and less expensive to bypass the filter dryer. Check the valves and reversing valves with the bypass loop. Prepare the discharge port by connecting the resealable waste container to capture the flash acidic contaminants. It's also good practice to restrict the solvent flow at the discharge port. Restricting the flow will maximize the solvent contact time and increase the efficiency of the flush. It also minimizes the amount of solvent required truly cleans the system. Attach the solvent injector to the inlet port and run flushing solvent through the system according to product instructions. The amount of solvent needed truly flush the system will depend on the size of system as well as the amount of contamination found within it. It's a good idea to check waste container occasionally to ensure that it's catching of all the solvent and captured contaminants. Once you believe the system is clear, remove the solvent injector from the inlet port, connect the hose from the nitrogen tank. Purge the system at 150 psi for 1 to 2 minutes to remove all trace amounts of oil residue and solvents. If the existing solvent remains cloudy, then repeat the 1 to 2 minute nitrogen purge. Once the existing solvent is clear, you can disconnect the waste container. Ensure that the waste material is disposed of according to federal, state, and local regulations. How to assemble air compressor? Replace the cylinder sleeve. Buy a new sleeve and insert the piston inside the sleeve. Now, it's time to put both the cylinder sleeve and piston back inside the pump body. Now, reinstall piston and fan. Bring the connecting rod of the piston and the idiosyncratic bearings together. Make sure the alignment between the connecting rod and the bearings is linear. There is the torque screw that tightens the piston connecting the rod to 48-inch LBS. Make sure you use a torque wrench. As for the fan, squeeze into the cage shaft. Rework the mounting bolt for 120-inch LBS. Now, tighten the same mounting bolt for 120-inch LBS. Now, replace and install the new valve plate. Take the seals of the new valve plate, both upper and lower valve plate seals, and push them inside the seal. Channels of the valve plate which you just bought. Carefully and firmly place the valve plate into the pump body. While doing So make sure that the red valves are present on the handle side of your air compressor. Reinstalling of the pump head. It is an important step, so you need to pay attention. While placing the new pump head over the valve plate which you just installed, make sure that muffler segment of your pump head is towards the red valve plates. Now, remount the pump head's bolts. Tighten those mounting bolts of the pump head to 7-foot LBS. Reconnect the outlet tube with the pump head. Place the shroud back on. Place the bigger half of the shroud over the compressor and then tighten the back screw. Now, bring the other elevate the smaller half of the shroud to the bigger one. Now, place them firmly in the place with the help from shroud locking tabs. Round on this step by mounting the front screws of the shroud. Reconnect the compressor with the power socket. The easiest step from the following list. After completing all those above mentioned steps carefully and sequentially, it's time to turn on the air compressor. Simply plug the air compressor power cord into the electricity socket of your workplace and then switch it on. So, that's all, sir, and thank you. In addition, in this video, so these are the important parts of our air compressor. Number 1, cylinder liner, piston, piston rod, connecting rod, big and bearing and main bearing, crankshaft, frame and crankcase, oil pump, water pump, suction and discharge valve, suction filter, intercoolers, driving motor. So, those are the important parts of our air compressor. So, thank you and God bless.